Hello and welcome. My name is Ali. I'm the owner and founder of Goff Legal. And today I'm going to go over a few things that are important for you to know when you're dealing with the death of a loved one. Now, in our office, we handle these matters on a regular basis, and we have a phased approach in dealing with administrations for trusts. So I'm going to go over a few of those phases and just briefly touch on some of the things that you need to take care of or that, we will take care of in the office for you as part of a trust administration process. We also have a resource for you. It's called What to Do When There's the Death of a Loved One. And I will go ahead and link that so that you guys can have that resource as a little more of an action guide for the trustee rather than a legal guide for the attorneys. So first in our office, we have phase 0, which is our welcome to the office. Let's figure out what's going on in your matter. How can we help? Are you in charge? Who's next in line? Just sort of an assessment of like what's happening, what are the documents, what are the assets. In phase 1, we work to get the trustee appointed, which means reviewing the trust documents. The trustee will accept the nomination. We'll get an identification number, EIN, or tax identification number, sometimes called a TIN. We prepare a certification of trust. The will needs to be lodged, and all the beneficiaries need to be notified within 60 days, actually, of death of the administration of the trust. Phase 2, we transition to the marshal and manage assets, where the trustee is required to gather all of the assets from the trust maker before they passed and put them into their name as trustee of the trust so that they can actually manage it. We create an asset and debt list, make sure that all of those accounts are collected. If there are any beneficiary accounts, POD or TOD accounts, those will be transferred to the beneficiaries. We recommend that the trustee meet with the financial advisor to go over any investments to make sure that they're prudently and properly invested for the administration time period. And then we make sure that real estate and other businesses have their title updated. Phase 3 is probably at quite a few days after that, maybe months actually after that, because there's a time period. Like I said, there's 60 days to notify beneficiaries. They have 120 days to file a contest and say they don't like the terms of the trust. So really what's happening in that time period is sort of a holding pattern. And then at the end of that 120 days, we, depending on the time of the year, transition to accounting and taxes. We recommend that the trustee have a meeting with the CPA to go over past taxes and future taxes. Then the trustee needs to account to the beneficiaries. That says, here's all the work I did, and I'd like you to sign off on everything I've done so that I can give you your distributions. We project the distribution amounts, everyone signs off, and then in the next and final phase, which is everyone's favorite phase, distribution and close. At that stage, the accounting is approved and the release is signed by the beneficiaries. All the accounts are then transferred either in kind or in cash. The real estate is transferred out, the businesses are transferred out. We recommend there's a reserve for the final taxes and expenses to be paid. And that's sort of the end of the case, mostly for the beneficiaries. For most trustees, the job actually lasts for probably about 3 more years because there's a statute of limitations on tax returns to make sure that there's no issues with the IRS or the Franchise Tax Board before the final reserve amount is actually paid out. Now, of course, there can be hiccups and bumps in the way that necessitate us going to court or filing petitions or engaging in negotiations with various entities or beneficiaries. But for the most part, most of those don't happen, and we get to go through these phases in a pretty, timely manner in a way that really works for the trust and the trustee. So if you guys have any questions, I know that was really brief and certainly doesn't go over all of the information, but really gives you an idea of what our approach is and what you might need to be thinking about if you're a trustee. You can give us a ring. You can go to our website, gofflegal.com, and send us a message, request a consult, or grab some more information. All right, it was nice chatting with you. Talk to you later. Bye.